All right, we're live. Welcome back, everyone. J Bone here for Smash This Podcast. Oh man, it's a late one, folks. I wanted to do this a lot earlier, but you know how that happens. Um, but before I get into this NWA episode, I just want to talk about something for a minute. And I don't know how this is even going to come out, so I'm just gonna just let it rip. Uh, my 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 state of Wisconsin. For those of you who don't know, I live just outside of Milwaukee in Wisconsin. Um, my state and parts of my state have trended for horrible reasons over the course of the last few days. Um, most of it pertaining to kids and guns and violence. And it's some of it happened 10 minutes from here. Um, and I wasn't scared. I was more, just shaking your head like, what is going on with kids these days? I mean, you can throw blame in 20 different directions, and I'm not going to sit here and do that and say, oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's because of that. I'm going to take a second and just tell the people out there, look, I know it's a hectic time of year and everybody's running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to do this, do that this coming holiday season. My family's already doing it. Um, just take a time to share some love with someone, share a smile, um, hug a friend, call up a loved one and tell them you love them, because there's just way too much negativity out there. So if everyone would just take a moment out of their day I know I sound like an old hippie on here, but it's true. If everyone would just stop, think about what they're doing, and just share some love with someone in the simplest way, this world would be such a different place. And I just wanted to start this off with that because man, the news I've been seeing is just upsetting. It makes me sad. I'm sure it angers a lot of people, but it makes me sad that this is happening and so close to here in the surrounding area. It's crazy. All right. Um, so yeah, just wanted to get that off my chest before I jump into this review of NWA Powerrr episode number 9, the season finale, if you will. It's kind of funny, season finale. Um, because Into the Fire is just a week away? No, 10 days? No, 11, 10, 11 days away, whatever it is. December 14th, I believe it is. So just less than a couple weeks away. And so it looks like this is the last episode before the pay-per-view, but the pay-per-view's on the 14th. So that makes it a little interesting, and there's not going to be um, an episode next week. Maybe there'll be like a filler episode, as in hey, these are all the feuds that are going on. These are the matches that are happening. Maybe there'll be something like that next week, or or maybe they'll just replay all of these live on a stream, something like that. Who knows what they're going to do? I'm not really sure. But and the thing with the NWA lately, it's been cursed with a little bit of controversy lately. Some would say a little, some would say a whole lot. I think they can rise. I think the company in a whole can rise above this. Um, just with the controversy from Jim Cornette and everything. I'll tell you what's fascinating. Um, I was watching it on my phone as I was starting to make dinner, so I missed, parts of it. Had to rewatch it before I did this. Um, what's interesting is the amount of people that I saw in the chat and people online, like just quick going through Twitter here and there. It's more pro Jim Cornette than anti Jim Cornette. Now, I by no means am looking for all the things related to Jim Cornette, but just from what I saw in a short period of time that I was online looking up stuff on the NWA tonight after the episode, prior to the episode, it really shocked me. It really shocked me with how many people want him back and have sat there and said, I'm not going to watch the NWA until he comes back. In fact, someone commented on it was either on my channel or someone else's channel. Let me look this up real quick. This blew me away. Come on. Sup, Andre? I don't know why none of the comments are showing up in my screen here. They're showing up over here on this one. That's weird. That's really weird. StreamYard, you are dropping the ball. Now they popped up. Sure, I had to say something and then they all popped up. I will read these in a second, Andre. Glad you could make it, my brother. Let me jump in my channel real quick and I want to see if I can find this really quick. So just give me 2 seconds while I just, stumble through this. Here, this is from my last episode. Someone said, never gonna watch this show again till Jim comes back. I'll catch the reviews from YouTubers and be fine with that. It's one thing to say, I'm not going to watch till Jim comes back, but then to say, I'll catch the reviews from YouTubers and be fine with that. Why would you even watch that? Hey, whatever. I'm not going to tell you can't, but that just kind of, I don't know, just kind of confused the hell out of me. Andre, when you're done, let me know if it doesn't show up on your wall. It's a 2-hour impact stream, and it's not even showing up on my video wall. I saw it. I saw it in my YouTube feed. I saw your stuff on my YouTube feed. Really have no. It says live streams. Click on live streams and even see it listed on the wall. Yeah, I saw it on mine. You just got to tell people to click that notification button. P.S. Smash that like button. Hell yeah. Smash that like button and smash that sub button, folks. Hell yeah. Thank you. Problem with NWA having a small hiatus is that the hiatus takes place while they're at their lowest. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, they're coming out of a little you know, a little hiccup as far as their situation here with Jim. Um but they just gotta come back strong for Into the Fire, put on a big show, and I'm sure it'll bring some people back, you know. Um and I think bringing in, I was going to save this for the end, but as long as we're talking about Jim and the lack of someone on the broadcast team, um, they're bringing in Stu Bennett for Into the Fire. Now, I don't know if that means that he's going to stay with the NWA. Um, I'm sure. I'm sure he is. He has an American visa, as far as I know, till um oh, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it ran out and he's got to get another one. I don't know. I really don't know what his situation is. Stu Bennett, aka Wade Barrett. Let's talk about this for a second. Then we'll jump into reviewing the episode itself. Um, he was a GM of like Defiant in the UK. Last time we saw him on American wrestling was it's almost the year anniversary, which is kind of funny. It was just a little over a year ago, November of last year, that we saw uh, Bad News Barrett, Wade Barrett, Stu Bennett, whatever you want to call him, on Lucha Underground. And he was in the season finale, Ultima Lucha Quattro, I believe it was called. Gosh, it hasn't been around for a while, so it's a little fuzzy. um, he showed up in the last scene and was like kind of like the big bad boss who showed up in the limo at the end of the season 4, which is now presumably the end of the series, because we haven't seen anything from it at all. Um, so it'll be great to see him back. And he's got history with Nick Aldis, which makes it even more interesting. It really does. Um, dating back, 20 years? Give or take a little, because assuming they started back in the UK together, I'd have to go back and actually look up the history together. But as far as I know, Stu Bennett is still retired from physical competition. He's doing some acting. So hey, he's no. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people say, "Oh, he's no Jim Cornette." You know what? You could almost. I look at it as it's a breath of fresh air. They need someone with a presence in wrestling. You can't just bring in anyone. You got to look who's available, because this company's snatching up this guy, this company's snatching up this guy, and it's just it's a free for all out there. Everybody's getting signed. Um, Andre says, when I found out it was Stu Bennett, I felt like all the air left the balloon. Which, uh, what relation or correlation does he have to the NWA? None. They should have at least tried for Larry Zbyszko. He goes on to say, or at least somebody relative to the past. Steuben, it does Stu Bennett. It does nothing. World of Sport. Oh yeah, it was. Oh yeah, he was on that too. He was in a couple different things over in the UK over the last couple years. Yeah. Um. So no, he doesn't have any relation to the NWA itself. Um. And it's kind of a last minute thing in a sense. They got a couple weeks since all this stuff with Jim Cornette, the controversy to find someone for the pay per view. But you know, I don't know. I, I look at it like, hey, he's got history with Nick Aldis going way back in the day. Um, it could really fare well for him if you look at the UK tie-in with each other. But that's, I mean, honestly, that's about it as far as I know. Um, so they might use that as hey, he's ringside. Something could happen. He could be the third ref if it goes to 3 rounds and that 2 out of 3 falls with James Storm. I don't know. Um, but hey, let's get into this now. So this episode's kind of all over the place. A lot of different things going on. Starts out with what is supposed to be supposed to be a non-title exhibition between Colt Cabana and Ricky Starks, and Aaron Stevens is back again, butting his nose in with his, nude trunks. It's just, it's so, oh man, it's just crazy. So he butts in, and Colt Cabana is like, look, I'm supposed to have a match with Ricky, but you're out here and you want a match with me so bad. I'll tell you what, why don't you have a match with Ricky? And Ricky's like, whatever, I just want to wrestle. It's like, he's like, let's just do this. So they have a match, and Aaron Stevens initially brings out the question mark, which I'm really confused. Like, the crowd loves the question mark. I mean, they really, really love the question mark. And they keep cheering him. But then in this match, he attacks Ricky Starks, and they keep cheering him. I'm really confused by this. Like, okay, I would look at that as okay, I'm going to boo him, because I don't really look at Ricky Starks as a heel. And I don't want to overthink this either. Like I said, I've said this once, I'll say it a million times. This is professional wrestling. Let's not overthink this. But I was just confused how, when he attacked Ricky Starks and helped Aaron Stevens, they still cheered him. That just, I don't know. That just, boggled my head a little bit. But yeah, so Aaron Stevens is having the match with Ricky Starks, fakes an injury, and he's down, calls over everyone around him, including Colt Cabana, which that's the funny part. Hey, come over here. Yeah. And then the question mark attacks Ricky Starks, and all of a sudden, miracle upon miracles. Aaron Stevens is fine, kips up pins him, whatever, because the question mark hits Ricky Starks with the Mongrovian spike. That Mongrovian spike. Damn you, question mark. Damn you. So goofy. So yeah, and that's leading to what we find out, and I'll go over all this at the end too, but we get the announcement at the end of the episode that Colt Cabana's championship, the national championship, is going to be up for grabs. He's got to face Aaron Stevens and Ricky Starks at Into the Fire on the 14th. So, very interesting, but the question mark already has his own stuff going on. We'll get to that in a little bit. Andre has got something to say. They don't need a breath of fresh air if they're after adult fans who are fans of the NWA. Bringing in Stu Bennett reminds me of the Simpsons episode. The I will say too. Oh God, cool. All right. So next we got a James Storm interview. And in the interviews that we have with James Storm and Nick Aldis, two of the main things they do in these interviews is they pick the referee that they're going to have in the 2 out of 3 falls match. So in the first fall, James is picking Brian Hebner. Pretty straightforward guy. His father's had some controversy in the past, but Brian's been pretty cut and dried, just a good ref, you know. We've seen him throughout the years. So it's like, all right, he picks Brian Hebner. But then James is also talking about this unaired segment and some other stuff that never saw the light of day, apparently, from the NWA. And yeah, it's really starting to upset James Storm. So James Storm is reminding the folks that this pay-per-view is going to be live. He's like, you can't rely on editing to just keep me out of things. We're live and anything can happen. He's like, and you can't get out of this. We're having the match, you know, that's final. So there's that. So, and like I said, he picks Brian Hebner for his ref. All right, and then we also have footage from WrestleCade. Wow, I cannot spell. There was footage of Great Buddha in the ring misting someone. I think it was at George South, I believe it was. The footage happened so quick, but then Nick Aldis gets in the ring and lays down his championship, as in Nick Aldis wants a championship match with the Great Muta. Very interesting. So are we going to see the Great Muta on Powerrr, on NWA Powerrr? I'd like to think we're going to maybe get him at least for an episode or two, maybe. If they can work it out, that'd be tremendous. Such a legend. Last time I saw him was at a Impact Wrestling show, I believe it was, that they had with was it a Twitch show they had in Philly with the House of Hardcore guys or something? It was some special Impact show, something like that. And yeah, in fact, that was during the summer, I think it was. So that's the last time we saw the Great Muta. So yeah, wow. Could we possibly get a championship match in the future not guaranteed it's going to be Nick Aldis, but we'll just say for now, Nick Aldis versus the Great Muta. Man, if I was Nick Aldis, that's certainly a match I would want. To have a match with a legend like that, tremendous. Crazy. You never know who's going to be in NWA. That's a big truth right there. All right, then next we have we're at ringside there with Dave Marquez, and Melena comes out to quite the pop. Now this is another way that in this episode, it's almost like it's opposite day. If she's tied to Thunder Rosa and Marty Bell, who consistently have been attacking the champ, why are they cheering her? I really don't get this crowd. This crowd, they're a good crowd. They're the volume's there. That's fine. It's close. It's an intimate crowd. And if you mic them correctly, they can sound like 1,000 people. And that's one thing that I think that they've done with these episodes is production wise, the crowd sounds good. I'm just confused at who they're cheering for. But nonetheless, like I said, this is wrestling. Let's not overthink this. The crowd can cheer whoever they want to cheer for. I'm just a little surprised. That's all. So Melena comes out to quite the ovation, and next out comes Allison Kay, and she gets in Melena's face, and she's not having any of this business with Melena. And she's like, look, why don't we just do this right now? Whips off her shoes, tosses her heels or whatever she was wearing, gets in the ring, and she's like, let's do this. And Melena teases her, gets in the ring, gets out of the ring, gets up on the mat, gets down from the mat, and is attacked again by Marty Bell and Thunder Rosa. And we hear the drums in the background again. And they all just stand over the champ and Thunder Rosa, mocking the pinkies up sign. So yeah, I can't imagine they're going to be cheering her much more after that. But nonetheless, it is good to see Melena back in wrestling. And apparently she is going to be wrestling. That's going to be interesting to see how she does in the ring. Because I don't know how much in-ring time she's had lately. She's got a match coming up at Into the Fire. It's going to be Ashley Vox and the champ, Allison Kay, versus Melena and a partner of her choosing between Marty Bell or Thunder Rosa. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Next, we got the interview with Nick Aldis. He's cut the promo and he starts talking about the unaired segment. And he's trying to explain that this unaired segment didn't air because the whole thing was just a giant mess. James Storm just butting his nose into everybody's business. And they show some of the footage, and it does look like chaos. It really does. And I want to talk about this for a second. There's all this stuff with Camille going on, and what's Camille doing, and what's the future with Camille and her relationship I shouldn't say a relationship with the champ, because that sounds sleazy, but no, that's not. She's the insurance, for Nick Aldis. She is the valet, if you will. But she's also paying dividends. She's causing chaos. She's getting in the ear of other people. So there's a whole nother story going on here, and it's very interesting. And just when you think you know what's going on with her, you don't. Because this could go 20 different directions, folks. Camille is whispering sweet nothings into James Storm. Not sweet nothings, but she's whispering stuff into James Storm's ear last episode. Huge question marks there. So that right there with James Storm throws up flags like, is she turning on Nick Aldis and she's going to help James Storm? Or there's also this. she could be getting in the head of James Storm, thinking that she's going to side with him somehow or help him somehow because she's sick of stuff with Nick Aldis. Like, oh, Nick, I'm upset with Nick Aldis. Now, in that same note, in this unaired footage that they showed all this chaos going on. And right in front of the camera, you see all this, the Dawsons attacking the Rock and Roll Express, and they're also at ringside with I believe it was the triple threat match. So there's a couple guys from the match outside of the ring at the same time. There's all this stuff going on. If you look in the background, in the this corner, this part of your screen right here, if you look up past the ring, you see dear God, Nick Aldis. I got Stu Bennett on the brain now. You see Camille and the champ, Nick Aldis, and they look like they're gesturing to each other. They're upset. They're talking or yelling at each other, arguing. So that right there makes you wonder, is there a big rift? Because everything started in that first episode where Nick Aldis clobbered Camille. But then she was given an opportunity to speak, and she chose not to. So this whole thing is just really confusing, but that's good because that makes you wonder what the hell she's going to do. What is James Storm going to do? Is there going to be like a secret weapon someplace? As in addition to, somebody else showing up helping James Storm? Nick Aldis said he's going to give Camille the night off at Into the Fire. But I can guarantee you she's going to be there. She's going to be there. I know she's going to be there. She's probably going to end up being the third ref. If it's not going to be Stu Bennett, like all of a sudden, toss him a ref shirt, he jumps in the ring, I'm the third ref, I've got some bad news for you, something, I don't know. He's going to say that at some point. He's going to. That's his old shtick. It's goofy. It's funny. Why not? So yeah, that's the big question mark. If it does, no, not the wrestler, the question mark. That's he's got his own stuff going on. Let's not bring him into this. All right. Everybody settle down. That's the big question. What's going on with Camille? What's her thing with Nick Aldis? Is she pretending to be upset just to get into the ear of James Storm and deceive him? Or is she really going to help him become the new NWA champ? I can't wait to see, because this is actually getting really good. So, but nonetheless, Nick Aldis says that he's giving Camille the night off at Into the Fire because of all this stuff going on. You know? So, then, last but certainly not least in this episode, we have the NWA World's Tag Team Championship match. Now, I can't wait to see the responses from this, because I'm honestly really curious. I'll be honest, I was surprised. I was surprised that we got new tag champs. I thought, because the Rock and Roll Express had put over guys like Homicide and Kingston, that they were just going to use the Rock and Roll Express as, to get the crowd riled up, a piece of nostalgia, someone to put over the next generation, the current tag champs. When they won this tag match, I was shocked. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, this is crap, the tag champs should have won. What are they doing putting belts on guys who are 60 plus years old in the ring? It might have been more for the crowd than the audience watching, through YouTube. It was a feel-good moment. Okay. I was surprised, but I was happy with it. Are they going to stay champs long? I would guess not, because they're getting the rematch at Into the Fire with the wild card, Thomas Latner and Royce Isaacs. And those guys are actually good. Isaacs and Latner are a good tag team. I have not seen them together much, but from what I've seen in this, less than 10 episodes of the NWA, I'm sold on them. They're good in the ring. They work well together. They understand ring psychology, as in, cut the ring in half and, work over your opponent, and limb work and all that old school stuff. So I'm sold on them, but then you got to look at, they haven't been together very long, like few months, half a year most. I'm trying to remember when the 70th anniversary was, because I think that's when they started together. That's a guess. So we'll say 6 months plus, or 6 months or less, because I can do math. And then with Cornette jumping in at the end, I I thought for a second maybe the Midnight Express was going to show up and attack him. Or some form of the Midnight Express, or maybe the Fabulous Freebirds. But no, not happening. But no, it was a feel-good moment. I'm okay with it. And look, I love the Rock and Roll Express. Okay, you're talking to an old wrestling fan. I grew up on, besides all the WWF stuff and Hogan and Say Your Prayers and Eat Your Vitamins and all that stuff, that's the time that I started watching wrestling. Besides all that, I watched Sting, Road Warriors, Rock and Roll Express, Freebirds, Four Horsemen, Luger. The list goes on and on. NWA, AWA, whatever. I watched all that stuff. World Championship Wrestling, whatever time, 80s going into the early 90s. I watched all that stuff. I loved the Rock and Roll Express. One of the first teams I fell in love with as a kid. The Tassels. That's probably why I love the Young Bucks so much, because it reminds me of them when I was young, you know, between that and the Rockers, which of course were an offshoot of the Rock and Roll Express, you know, opinions aside. Come on, you know it is. Um, and so to see these guys get some love from the NWA and say, "Hey, we know you guys are special. You're your NWA Hall of Famers. Your WWE Hall of Famers. Um, they're seeing more this year around the world than anywhere else in the last 20 plus years. It's crazy." Um, so yeah, I mean, if you ask me if I'm upset that they're champs, nah, I'm not upset. I love the fact that they gave them the belts. I'm surprised. The crowd sure like popped, was like, oh my god, they're champs. So as an old wrestling fan, yeah, I dig it. Yeah, shit, I broke my pen. So excited, I broke my damn pen. Well, at least it's stuck like that now. All right. Anyways, don't know my own strength. Shit, I'm tired. So yeah, I mean, we got new tag champs, NWA World Tag Team Champions, the Rock and Roll Express, 9 time, 9 time, and they had the moment with Jim Cornette, which led into um what's his name, Joe Galley, thanking Jim for his time in supporting the NWA. His short but sweet time in the NWA. And I mean, I'll say I am going to miss his commentary, because that's a one, controversy aside, whatever. He knows his shit. Love him or hate him, he knows his shit. Okay. And the stuff that he contributed to the commentary may not get filled by anyone else like him, that knows that history, that came from that history back in the 80s. He ran alongside all those guys, the Freebirds, the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, the Road Warriors. All those guys go back to the uh, late 70s, early 80s, whatever it is. So in that sense, yeah, I'm gonna miss him. I'm not gonna beg for him back, because we just don't need controversy in this brand. This brand is, so young, and they don't need any more hiccups. They need a strong pay per view, and I think they'll be all right. But they do need someone alongside Joe Galley that does have some kind of history. someone that's going to bring in the classic viewer like myself and say, okay, we need someone on commentary that knows the history. Maybe David will fill in a little bit. Um, who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? All right, let's jump back in the chat here before we run down the card for the pay-per-view. I'm not doing predictions. I might do predictions like next week as a filler, We'll see. The 8x10s looking good. Yeah, those go back 2013-ish. That was when they came here, and I actually met Rhino, Elgin, and just out of camera here, there's Steen and Jay Lethal. Met those 4 guys. So those are back up. Yes, they're Swerving Storm. Yeah, I mean, could very well be. It's hard to say. It looks like maybe they are. So I mean, if they are, it's great storytelling. She would have spoken already if she wasn't 100% loyal to the champ. All right. Friends with Thomas Latimer, asked him to do an intro for our NWA podcast with the tag belts. He told me they lost. So I've known for a while, but I kept it quiet. Yeah, I heard a little birdie online told me to. It is what it is, It's Express too, but not as much as the Midnight Express. All right, I hear you. Yeah, everyone's got their favorites from back in the day, Man, it's been so long since I've seen that footage. Man, I'm gonna have to look up some of it. I clicked on something right before I went live, and it was Jimmy Garvin's reuniting with Ronnie Garvin. And it showed old footage of Jim Cornette putting a fireball in Ronnie Garvin's face and everybody coming down to the ring. And oh my God, man, just, yeah, crazy stuff. And just crazy to look at a young Rock and Roll Express. And they even showed like, a quick clip or a picture or something during the episode of what they looked like back in the day. And man, just that little bit just made me, you remember so much. And like the classic of like Ricky Morton versus Ric Flair, even the singles competition, stuff like that. Man, it's so good. I gotta look that up. See if I can find it. Well, if you still had your WWE network, it'd be easy. Whatever. So, all right, let's quick run down this card. And I'm sure we're going to get more on the pay-per-view. Because it sounds like there's a few other people that are actually going to be there. They just have not announced matches yet, so that's still in the works. But let's run down what we got here. We got Colt Cabana versus Ricky Starks versus Aaron Stevens for the NWA National Championship. We got the Question Mark versus Trevor Murdoch. That'll be interesting. Is the Question Mark going to be revealed during that match? That's what I want to know. Because it sounds like they're building up to like an unmasking. I don't know. And still, I don't know who it is. I think I know who it is. I think it's Josephus, but I could be way off. Who knows? We got Ashley Vox and the champ Allison Kay. Sorry, so the NWA Women's Championship is not up for grabs here. We got a tag match with the ladies. We got Ashley Vox and NWA Women's Champ Allison Kay versus Melena and a partner of her choosing. It's either going to be Thunder Rosa or Marty Bell. Who knows? Maybe they'll all get in the mix. It'll be a 3-on-2. Who knows? But I love what the women are doing. You know, it's simple. It's good storytelling. I'm digging it. You know, because these are shorter episodes. You can only do so much in them, so it's all right. We got okay. So this is the match that I would tune in for the most. That I'm most excited about. That I've been just dying to see since I saw these guys are all involved in the NWA. We've got Ken Anderson, Mr. Ken Anderson versus Eli Drake. That was like way off. That's okay. Yeah, that one could, in my opinion, would be the headliner. For me personally, I understand you got to put the championship on top. I get that. But for me personally, if I had to pick one out of this bunch that would headline it, it'd be Eli Drake versus Ken Anderson. But I have a feeling we're going to see that match for a championship belt sooner rather than later. Crossing my fingers on that one, of course. We've got then the championship match, the 10 pounds of gold being defended by Nick Aldis, the champ, versus James Storm. 2 out of 3 falls. The first one, so the first fall is going to be refed by Brian Hebner. That's James Storm's choice. Nick Aldis picked Tim Storm. Very interesting there. And then if it goes to a third fall, we'll see what happens there. I'm guessing it's going to be like Camille or something, or maybe Stu Bennett will get in the mix or something. Who knows? Or surprise. Whatever. But then speaking of Stu Bennett, he is then announced at the end of the episode as being part of the broadcast team for Into the Fire, announced by Nick Aldis himself, which makes it sound like he's got an ace up his sleeve for the match with Stu Bennett. Maybe. We'll see. But he knows him. So right there, he's going to be excited about that. But we'll have to see what they have planned. So that's it for this episode. I don't know what they're going to do next week. If they're going to have like, I think honestly, if there were, this is what I would do. You know, they keep talking about this unaired footage in the episode here. What I would do is put out a preview of Into the Fire, talk about each of the matches, but then also show that unaired footage of that 3-way that apparently went to hell so that we can really put those pieces together and see exactly what happened. And maybe that was the plan all along. I don't know. It's just weird. But that's what I would do. I would air the unaired footage, talk about it pertaining to this feud, and then see if there's any other little snippets in there. Like I saw the argument between Nick Aldis and Camille in the back. I think that's a real big piece of this that they kind of like tucked away for, you know, that not everybody's going to see, but people like me, you know, in these glasses they're going to see that, you know. You can't get away from these, man. No way in hell. So yeah, we'll see. But we'll do a preview and predictions because I'm sure they're going to announce something else. They said that that Homicide and Kingston are going to be there. Can't think of what their tag team is called. Can't think of it. But anyways, all right. So that's it for this one. We will see you guys real soon. Don't forget to smash that like button, smash that sub button, and ring that bell for notifications so that you know when more of my content hits your screen. Tomorrow night, I got to work this out with the guys. Tomorrow night was supposed to be the debut of um, the throwback episodes with the TNA guy. TNI. God, talking classic TNA stuff. Total nonstop impact, guys. I don't know a time. We're supposed to start the content list this week. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we're still either way going to go Thursday for the Impact Wrestling review. As far as my content, um, I'm going to be watching AEW, and depending on what happens, you'll either get the classic review or a AEW from me. Either way, I'll be doing something tomorrow night. So tune in for that. And I don't know what else we're doing this week. You know, we're getting closer to Christmas. The days are getting a little more chaotic. I do what I can. All right. So stick around. We'll keep throwing stuff at you. All right. Take care. We'll see you soon.